Sheriff, you mentioned the gun. Do we know how the suspects got a hold of the weapon?
Car burglaries. Ain't that right? All the gun laws we got in place didn't prevent it, did it? Neither will any new ones. Because here's the fact. The bad guy's going to get a gun no matter what law you have put in place. These juveniles shouldn't even possess a handgun, but they did.
Now, before I get into my take about this particular video, I just want to say if you're watching this video right now, be sure to go down and push the thumbs up button, and be sure to share this to your YouTube community if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you happen to be watching this on another platform, be able to share this to your platform as well so that more people can see this message and understand this message, because the mainstream media isn't going to do it. We're going to have to do it for ourselves. And the only way we can do that and get past the algorithms that like to blackball us or like to shadow ban us in the gun community is to share the content and to like the content, because that means the more people like the content tells the algorithm to show it to more people. More people share the video, more people see the video. So go ahead, hit that share button, and then go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and let more people see this video. Now, about this sheriff, it is incredibly refreshing to hear a sheriff speak this way. You know, usually anytime we talk about violence committed with firearms, it's the same thing. They blame the gun. We need more gun control. We need to pass this law to ban this gun, to ban that high capacity magazine, and all this other nonsense. And we literally understand that criminals are always going to find a way to get their hands on firearms. But the biggest issue is the lack of accountability that we seemingly don't want to place on people who engage in criminality.
This group of juveniles were involved in committing burglaries and robberies, which they were referred to as a lick. But the fact is, society fails it. We do not hold our juveniles accountable. We minimize their actions.
I don't understand it. We don't do this with any other object or tool in this country except for the firearm. Anytime somebody does something bad with a gun, we blame the gun. If somebody does something bad with the car, we blame the person. If somebody does something bad with a knife, we blame the person. If somebody does something bad with any other tool, we blame the person. But when it comes to firearms, for some odd reason, we blame the firearm.
I know each of you in the media here and viewers out there probably heard us in law enforcement or even in community events talk about what is the problem. And I'm going to go ahead and address the first thing that I know it's going to come up, because there are individuals out there viewing, and to include some of you media, that want to blame the one thing that has no ability or the capacity to commit the crime itself, and that's the gun. These individuals committed the crime.
Somebody want to let me know when firearms became these amorphous beings of humanity and light that they can breathe and they have souls and they think all of a sudden they can act on their own? They clearly can't. I started a whole campaign on social media called Still Waiting. And the whole concept of it is I have a gun that sits on the table and I'm still waiting for it to get up and actually commit a crime on its own. Because every time we have this conversation, we're blaming the firearm. Why are we blaming a tool for the actions of humans? And you see this consistently. But no, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to address that because we've allowed ourselves to be tricked into believing that the guns are the issue. The people are the issue. The guns don't do anything if it's not influenced by the person. The person has to pick up a firearm and actually engage in the action. But for some reason, we don't talk about that. We say we need gun control. We need to pass this law. We need background checks. Criminals are going to get guns. People just have to understand that criminals are going to get guns. They're out there. There's 400 million of them in this country. They're going to find a way to get guns. The people in this particular story, the criminals in this story, they got the guns by stealing them. They stole the firearms. So what makes you think that any law is going to prevent them from getting their hands on guns? They're breaking a law to break another law. It's illegal for them to have guns, so they break one law to acquire the thing they're not supposed to legally have anyway. How do you create a law for this, save for banning them entirely? And that is the point that I like to hit on over and over and over again, that a lot of people don't want to believe. That when these leaders talk about gun control, they only talk about it from the standpoint of control. That is the goal. The goal is control. They know that criminals are still going to get guns. They're not worried about criminals. Honestly, they're not worried about criminals having guns. They're worried about you having guns, because they cannot control you, the masses of people, if you are armed. It is utterly simplistic. It is the most fundamental concept of power that one could possibly understand, but for some reason we don't want to understand it. He who holds the gun holds the power. And if everybody has a gun, everyone has the power. So you have to engage with each person in a very specific way. A government who can rule over people who can't defend themselves is not a government. They are tyrants. That's what they are. They are not a government for the people. And our founders understood that, which is why they created the Second Amendment. But nobody wants to talk about that. So when I hear a sheriff get up there and actually say the things that we've been preaching in the gun community for decades, it is insurmountably refreshing. Because at least we know that there's somebody out there who gets it, who understands it, who is in a position of power. These are people who are on the front line of dealing with criminals. And they are telling you right here, right in your face, these criminals are going to get guns regardless. It doesn't matter what gun law you pass. These criminals are going to behave this way, and they're going to do these things. So this idea we're going to create laws that's going to stop them from doing it is stupid. That's essentially what he said. But the question is, will people hear it? No, because we've politicized the idea of the Second Amendment. It's, oh no, it's Florida, it's right-wing, conservative, da, 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 da. So we're not going to listen to the police officer that's telling you criminals are going to get guns regardless of what laws you pass. You're so deep down bad about your political ideations that you can't stand to see basic common knowledge that criminals are going to get guns regardless of the law they pass. But I guarantee you, if some left-leaning sheriff got up there from New York, got up there and told you we need to pass more gun control laws because that will keep people safe, you will believe him hook, line, and sinker simply because he's far left. And that was the biggest con that's been played on this conversation with respect to the Second Amendment, is they've been able to politicize it. Now, it makes no sense. Why would the idea of owning a firearm be divided along political lines? It should not be that way, but they managed to do it because they know people won't think. They won't think past their political affiliations. It's like, I'm a Democrat, so I'm supposed to be anti-gun. That's stupid. I'm a Republican, so I'm supposed to be pro-gun. That's stupid. You're supposed to be pro-gun because you're a free person and you have a Second Amendment right to own a firearm to protect yourself and this country. That's it. There's no other reason for it. It is an inalienable right for a reason. It's not based around political or party lines. Stop doing this. But I'm glad there's at least a sheriff out there speaking common sense. Because by and large, what we've been hearing for the longest is nonsense. We've just been hearing people, oh, we need to pass this law. We need to pass this law. Pass the same laws that are already in place that still don't work. The same laws that you passed them, they still would have done what they did because they broke the law to do what they did in the first place. So the only way they can get you to agree with the idea of more gun control is to remove accountability. They just take the accountability away.
I've got a particular media who has a problem with putting photos of juveniles out. Now, we do it what the law says we can do. Put these photos out. I put myself in the shoes of those mothers because I heard one of them say it. I wish I would have known what this one was doing and who they were, because my kid never would have hung out with them. And to think and believe to minimize any actions that is criminal of a juvenile is a disservice and, frankly, stupid to think. We need to hold them accountable. And I'll go back to you, add your question. A simple burglary, as some people will say, but I don't consider anything simple when it comes to a burglary. The law allows me, I'll plaster their face up on this page, up on my page, up on media. I will hand it out if the law allows me, because parents have the right to know who their kids are hanging out with and preventing this.
And they say, you know what? No, it isn't the criminal's fault for what he did. It's because of the gun. Do you see how moronic that sounds? But they have to do that because if they can make the problem the gun, they can sell you gun control. If the problem are the people, they can't sell you gun control because the gun control is not going to do anything about the actions of the people. And that's how they get you to give up your rights. They scare you. They call us fear mongers. They scare you. Oh man, I can't even begin to tell you how bad they engage in fear mongering with respect to gun control. How many times have we been in situations where there's like, the blood is on your hands, our kids are dying, we need to do something. What? But then when we actually propose measures that would actually keep our kids safe, no, we're not going to do that. Why? Because it'll make the schools look like prisons. Wait, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about keeping kids safe. So you understand it'll keep kids safe, but you don't want to do it because you don't want the schools to look like prisons? We're talking aesthetics when we should be talking about protecting kids? I'm telling you, it's about control. And you, at some point, you're going to understand that. And if you're not, you're just going to give up your rights. You got a bunch of kids right now who don't know any better, are running around, literally walking out of school, telling the government to, here, take our rights away from us when we get to the point where we can exercise them. So I know some of you right now are wondering, what does that hat mean? I am the militia. Is that some type of pompous bravado beating your chest? No, it's not. What it is, it's recognizing and acknowledging what the militia really is. People on the gun control side will constantly try to tell you that the Second Amendment is about the militia. And you know what? They're absolutely right. Because the militia is about the people. It's about the people coming together with their own guns and forming a militia to protect their country and themselves. So it's not just a matter of, oh, we're going to come together and fight off a tyrannical government. It's also you being the militia, in that you are your own individual militia if you're ever attacked, because you can't call the cops and them instantly magically appear to protect you. You're going to have to protect yourself. It's a very fluid concept. So that's what this hat represents. It represents and acknowledges that you are the militia. That's what the Second Amendment was talking about. It was talking about the people. It was talking about you. So if you want to know where to get this awesome hat, and we also have it in shirts, we also have it in drinkware, we also have them on gun mats, head over to shop.mrcolionnoir.com and get your I'm the Militia merch today.
You know, we talk a lot about empowerment in this country, except for when it comes to the Second Amendment. However, I can't think of anything more empowering than having the most effective tool to protect you and your family. So help me spread this message by liking and sharing this video with everyone you know. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, because the Second Amendment, when it said militia, it wasn't talking about the government. It was talking about you. Also, if you want to know where to find the I'm the Militia shirt and merchandise, click the I'm the Militia link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, make sure you hit that bell symbol.